Terry missed the extra point. 2 again, 4 points that were left off the board. But anyway, the fact that if you have AB with T.Y. Hilton, that's going to make every defensive coordinator facing them in 2019 crap in their pants having to game plan against those two. That's scary right there. If Antonio Brown doesn't become the egotist that eventually led to Pittsburgh wanting to let him go, even though he requested for the trade, they were very accommodative for Antonio's attitude. So let's hope that he ends that attitude that he has and that ego and plays for the Colts. Could be good for them, or maybe for my Jets. After all, we have some money coming our way too. We need a primetime receiver as well. So I'm just saying, either or team could be his destination. Now, as for the Chiefs, they need a team to face in the AFC title game for the Lamar Hunt Trophy, which is named after the beloved owner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, the Chargers are playing the Patriots in the other divisional round matchup. They're coming into this matchup with a big victory in Wild Card Weekend against the Baltimore Ravens. 12-4 record, great sophomore season under Anthony Lynn as their head coach. Yes, they were missing Joey Bosa for part of the year, but still, it was a great offense altogether, and the defense with Derwin James and Adrian Phillips really played a big factor in the Ravens, in the victory over the Ravens. Now they're going into Foxborough, tough environment. Patriots went 8-0 in the season, looking to go 9-0. Here we go. First few drives of the game, and the Patriots just kept running the clock. First play of the game, 14 plays. They take off 7 minutes and 11 seconds off the clock. 5 passes towards James White, 2 of those for 10 yards. Eventually, with a rushing touchdown by Sony Michel to start the game off, they're up 7-0. So the Chargers are going to respond right here on the ensuing drive. And what happens? Philip Rivers responds with a 43-yard pass to Keenan Allen, the longest touchdown catch of Keenan Allen's career, and that's including the postseason. It's 7-all. Game not even over yet by a stretch. Patriots take advantage on the next three drives, including the touchdown pass on the back corner fade to Philip Dorsett, which was masterful right there. And eventually another 2 rushing touchdowns by Sony Michel. Sony Michel had all three of his rushing touchdowns in the first half. And then you think it was over, but no, of course not. After they're forced to punt the ball, with about 3:32 left in the second quarter, Ryan Allen's 48-yard punt, he's the punter for the Patriots, hits it towards Desmond King, the defensive player for the Chargers. He muffs the punt, recovered by Alvin McClellan inside at the Chargers 4, ruled initially out of bounds, but then the challenge is thrown by Bill Belichick, and on review, it looked like his feet was in bounds. 2 plays later, Sony Michel goes on third down from the 5-yard line, and boom, another touchdown. They're up 35-7 going to the second half. Of course, so the Chargers too little, too late, tried to score some more points, but at the end of the game, they end up losing 41-28 to the New England Patriots. Patriots going to their 8th consecutive AFC Championship game. They haven't lost a divisional round game since they played the Jets back in 2010. Since then, they've won every divisional round game, and now looking to head into their 3rd consecutive Super Bowl when they play the Chiefs. But before I get to that game, here's some of the points to look at right here, including in the beginning, that first drive of the game, the fact that James White had an NFL postseason record 15 receptions for about 97 yards altogether. He's dangerous out of the backfield. He was one of the reasons why they won Super Bowl 51 against the Falcons, getting the game-winning catch in overtime. The Chargers, otherwise, after the touchdown to Keenan Allen, were just terrible. Basically, the fact that they allowed James White to catch 15 passes. They gave up 9 receptions to Julian Edelman for 151 yards. Gronk was able to manhandle that defense and prevent them from making any stops on Sony Michel. And then Belichick's defense right here, basically freeing up rushers, forcing him into a handful of bad desperation throws, and Trey Flowers being able to knock him around for 2 sacks on the day, and a fumble recovery, by the way, by Kyle Van Noy. And that was it. No, actually, that wasn't in that game. But the fact that Trey Flowers had 7 hits, 28 hurries, along with the 2 sacks. Now, the rematch of Week 6 between the Chiefs and the Patriots. The AFC Championship game, folks, taking place in Arrowhead Stadium. Temperatures could possibly be freezing down there. We're hearing 30 right now with possible snow. That's going to take place the day before on Saturday, but Sunday could be very chilly Arctic air, which, Brady is used to the cold weather. He plays in Massachusetts. He's used to the cold weather at this point in his career. Now, when they played each other last, that was the Sunday night NBC game in which the Chiefs lost the Patriots 43-40. Going into that game, the Chiefs were a perfect 5-0, looking to extend their undefeated record in 2018. And the fact is, they were terrible in that game. They were held to 3 field goals in that game. They were down 24-9. Tyreek Hill, though, had his best performance. He had 3 out of the 4 touchdown passes from Patrick Mahomes, including the game-tying 75-yard pass. But eventually, Brady led his team down the field with a 16-yard pass to James White and the 39-yard pass to Rob Gronkowski, and then Steven Gostkowski got the game-winning 28-yard field goal as time expired, and they won 43-40. And if it wasn't for the fact that Mahomes had 2 picks in the first half, it could have been a different story. Chiefs actually possibly could have won that game. And the fact that they were playing in New England, a very tough environment. When you're losing by that many points at the half in Foxborough, you're more likely to lose than win. And that was the case for the Chiefs back then. And they had a defense. They gave up a league worst 361 yards a game. In fact, it was Brady's 200th career victory, and that's including the postseason. And as a starting quarterback all time. And most career wins combined, it was his 227th passing at Vinatieri, his old teammate. Sonny Michel, in fact, had 24 carries for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, this time around, since that game, the Chiefs' defense has been a little better than we've seen in the past. And this is... But the fact is, there are a lot of elements to this game. One, youth versus young versus old. 18 years separates these 2 quarterbacks. And some change. It's the oldest difference in starting quarterbacks in NFL postseason history. Patrick Mahomes, likely to be the MVP, who led his team with in the NFL with 50 touchdowns on the season passing, over 5,200 yards. First time since Peyton Manning did it in 2013 for the Denver Broncos. Of course, that year they didn't win the Super Bowl. They lost 43-8 to the Seahawks. Now, getting back to this game, a lot of things to take into account. If you are the Chiefs and you want to win this game, this is what you need to do against Tom Brady. Do not, and I mean do not, play zone defense. You do that, you might as well wave the white flag and give the game to the Patriots, because Tom Brady will pick you apart, eat you up alive for breakfast, lunch, and dinner if you play zone defense. You got to watch the game film from when the Patriots lost on the road, which, by the way, the Patriots were a terrible road team. They were 3-5, worst since 2013. In fact, the Patriots haven't won a road playoff game since 2004, the year when they won the Super Bowl. Ever since, and 10 out of the last 12 road teams have not won Championship Sunday. So the odds look like they're not in New England's favor a little bit. But again, Chiefs, remember, no zone defense. You're going to have to really get in Tom Brady's face, throw him off, take away Julian Edelman, take away Sony Michel's ability to run the ball easily, like he did against the Chargers, and like he did against your team back in Week 6. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from the mistakes that were made And don't turn the ball over. Even if you outgain, even if a team outgains another team in terms of total yards, if they commit 3+ turnovers, you're going to lose. 9 times out of 10, you will lose when you have 3+ turnovers in a game. So, if I'm the Chiefs, no turnovers, no mistakes. And let Tyreek Hill go wild. In fact, I sense the Chiefs may pull off a Philly special, just like the Eagles did against the Patriots last year in Super Bowl 52. I would not be shocked if it's Tyreek Hill on a flip from Mahomes and a pass to Kelsey or to Damian Williams, or Damian Williams throwing a ball to Tyreek Hill. Either way, that should be good right there. And do the same thing that you did last week against the Colts too. Get Tom Brady off the field and not give him any time whatsoever, and run the ball like your life depend on it. And don't just do it with Damian Williams. Have Spencer Ware and Damian Williams share carries. Kill the clock, move the chains. Keep Brady sitting on the bench. Now, for the Patriots, on the other hand, a team that plays a lot of cover defense right here. You got J.C. Jackson right there, your DB. You're going up against a very dangerous slot receiver right here in Tyreek Hill. You're going to have to really do a good job. He's going to have to be crucial in this game. Also, the Patriots defensive line, they're going to have to take away Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. But if you do that, you could possibly open things for Sammy Watkins. So they're going to have a really good game plan for those three right there. Because you cut off one head of the snake, another could appear in its place. But we're talking about Bill Belichick, who is a great game planner and especially good at readjusting his defenses. Another thing right here for the Patriots, too. Sony Michel. Yeah, Gronkowski giving up big blocks. Him versus D Ford, he's going to really have to be crucial in stopping and moving D Ford aside. But even with D Ford being stopped, you still got to deal with Chris Jones and Justin Houston. So the big men up front, the O-line of the Patriots, you're going to have to part the Red Seas and give Sony Michel enough space to run the ball down the Chiefs' throats. But at the end of the day, I think Sammy Watkins will have the big game. I do think the Chiefs are ready to step up and be that next it team. I think that Patrick Mahomes is going to pick apart the Patriots secondary this weekend. I know this is crazy, folks, and you're all going to look at me like, why would you make this pick? But I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs to defeat the New England Patriots at home. The Patriots are going to one of the toughest environments known to man. I don't know if their silent counts are going to be enough, and I really do think when you have guys like D Ford, Chris Jones, and Justin Houston combined this year 40.5 sacks all together, the O-line trying to deal with those three is going to be way too much for Brady to handle this time. I think he's prone to make a mistake this week. Give me the Chiefs over the Patriots. It's going to come down to the final play, just like the last game. It's going to be exciting, that's for sure. But at the end of the day, I'm going with the Chiefs. All right. Now from the AFC side of things, which is the Lamar Hunt Trophy to the George Halas Trophy. That's the team who could win the NFC Championship. But before we get to that game, let's get into the divisional round, starting with the Dallas Cowboys. By the way, for the Chargers, extend Phil Rivers' tenure there, and just keep doing what you're doing. I think they have a great future. Now, Dallas Cowboys, Los Angeles Rams. Cowboys coming to this game with a victory over the Seahawks at home, limiting Seattle's ability to run the ball to 73 yards. This time they go into L.A. in the Coliseum. Unfortunately, could not do anything right. And talk about the big boys up front, the 5 offensive linemen. They really parted the Red Sea. They basically gave C.J. Anderson and Todd Gurley enough room where not only they can run, they could do skip to my Lou, my darling. Not really. But nonetheless, they gave up no sacks and were able to give the running backs the ability to run for 273 yards on the ground, which is a Rams franchise record for the postseason. C.J. Anderson, the guy who came in with just in the last few weeks to replace Todd Gurley, who had a knee injury, has had 425 yards, 4 total touchdowns in his time in the last 3 games he's played with them, including 2 in this game, and had 2 rushing touchdowns on 123 yards. My favorite at the end on 4th and goal from the Dallas 1, bullying his way through the defense for the decisive touchdown when they were only up 23-15, and he gets the touchdown that basically puts the Rams over the edge right there. And Todd Gurley with 115 more rushing touchdowns and another rushing yards and another touchdown right there. It was really masterful playing, but you have to give it up to the Cowboys. One of my favorite plays was earlier in the game, the first and only touchdown they had in the first half, play action fake, lined up in the left side, on the left side, Todd is Amari Cooper. On the crossing route, Prescott throws the ball with no defense, nobody in the secondary covering him, marching down the field to the right corner of the end zone for the only touchdown the Cowboys had in the first half. Otherwise, the Cowboys could not do anything right. They couldn't pressure the team. They couldn't stop the run at all. And the defense of the Rams was able to get in Prescott's face. They lost 30-22. So some points from that game right there. The run defense, that was 5th in the league, again, could do nothing right. Gave up 273 yards. A total of 48 carries altogether and 3 touchdowns. This is the first time since the 69-70 NFL merger that the Cowboys have ever allowed a pair of 100-yard rushers. This is the 4th time in postseason history where there has been a team with a pair of 100-yard rushers in a single game. That's unbelievable right there. In the last 30 postseasons, over the last 30 postseasons. The running game, especially, it was old-fashioned, old-style, old-school football the Rams are playing. Running the ball effectively and having a good defense. Jared Goff was used seldom, 15-28 for 186 yards. But what really sealed the game was even after when the Cowboys were down 23-7, and yes, Prescott was able to get a touchdown and the 2-point conversion pass to Cooper, and it was 23-15. As I mentioned earlier, C.J. Anderson on 4th down was able to get another touchdown, making it 30-15. And then yet Prescott again leads them on another drive to get a rushing touchdown, 30-22. Cowboys needed to make a big stop on defense. It's 3rd and 7 in Rams territory. Goff gets the ball, rolls to his right, able to get the first down. Game, set, match, sealed. Cowboys lose to the Rams 30-22, including on that 11-yard run that Goff had. Robert Woods, yes, had 6 catches, 69 yards, but again, the passing game was non-existent. The Rams defense, on the other hand, when you have guys like Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh and Brockers and all these players on the front 7, and you have 2 really good corners in Talib and Peters doing their job as, this year, despite some absences with injuries at moments, but still able to make up the difference in the biggest key moments. And they win that game, and they're going on to Championship Sunday for the first time since 2001. Now, the Cowboys, we just heard today they got rid of Scott Linehan. I think it was a stupid move on their part, and they're going to regret that move. And the question for 2019 for the Cowboys is, will they give Amari Cooper a big contract extension? Because they really need a receiver like him. He's proven his value to the team since he was acquired back in October during the trade. Yeah. In fact, giving up a first-round pick to get him. So if I were the Cowboys, I lock him up to a long-term deal. Also, get another running back to complement Ezekiel Elliott, and things will work out. If you don't, well, then have more of the same, and hopefully the offensive line will be healthy next year. And will this be the year that Jason Garrett is on the hot seat? Or will this just be another year in which, even if they make the playoffs, he'll be safe? I don't know. It's all up to Jerry Jones, who's the judge, jury, and executioner of the Cowboys. And for my brother, too, I hope all the best for him as well. Because I want my brother to see them finally win their first title since 95 when I was 10 years old. In the good old days of Troy Aikman and, Emmitt Smith and, Michael Irvin. I love Michael Irvin, by the way. If you ever watch him on the NFL Network specials, he is probably he's funny, but he also is insightful, too, and he makes football fun to listen and watch, when it's analyzed. So, all right. Now, the other game. So, the Rams need an opponent. Well, we have to go to the Big Easy. We got the Philadelphia Eagles running on fumes right now on this pure adrenaline. Much-needed victories, Week 15 LA, 16 at home against Houston, 17 on the road against the Redskins. They go into Chicago, they win 16-15, and that's also due, in fact, to Cody Parkey hitting the left upright on what was potentially the game-winning field goal. Now they go into New Orleans, a team that trounced them earlier in the season, 48-7, but the Eagles defense since that game has given up less than 20 points, so you think the Eagles will come in there and dominate, and they did. First play on a skinny post route pass from Drew Brees intended for Ted Ginn Jr., fortunately picked off by Crevan LeBlanc. I was almost getting this guy's name wrong. He's fairly new defensive nickel cornerback, and he's able to get the pick off. Eventually, of course, they go down the field, and it's Jordan Matthews who gets Foles completes all 5 passes, 76 yards. Jordan Matthews gets the 37-yard touchdown pass, 7-0. Not over yet. Then on the next drive right here, they're able to go, it's 14-0 after a rushing then on the ensuing drive for the Saints, fumble, turnover, back to the Eagles. Foles drives them down the field and then rushes for a touchdown. It's 14-0. Saints, of course, can't do anything right again on the ensuing drive. So what happens? You think the Eagles are going to go down the field and then really put this game out of hand for the Saints to come back from? Well, au contraire, mon frere. Marshawn Lattimore gets the first of 2 interceptions off of Nick Foles on the evening. And then the Eagles are able to go down the field on a 79-yard march, including Tyson Hill going 4 yards on the fake punt for first down, and then 4th and goal from the Eagles' 2-yard line. Drew Brees throws a touchdown pass to the rookie Keith Kirkwood. It's 14-7. Then eventually Will Lutz gets a field goal, 45-yard field goal before the half. It's 14-10. Here we go. Beginning of the craziest play in the third quarter. 18 plays. 92 yards, that's total yards, not including the more than 100 yards if you count penalties. 11 and a half minutes that the Saints possess the ball eventually culminates with the touchdown pass to the 2-yard the touchdown pass to Michael Thomas, 17-14. Then another field goal by Will Lutz. It's 20-14. Of course, later on, the Saints can't get anything going on their final drive, have to give the ball back to the Eagles. So the Eagles have the ball. They're down 20-14. About 2 minutes to go. All right. This is an opportunity for them to pull off yet another impossible victory. They're going down the field, Foles making some plays. Eventually, on the pass intended for Alshon Jeffrey, sure-handed receiver, throws the ball. The ball goes right through Alshon Jeffrey's hands into the hands of all people, Marshawn Lattimore, 2nd interception off of Foles on the day. Ball turned right back to the Saints. Saints ice the game. They win 20-14, including the game-sealing run by Alvin Kamara. Eagles season's over. Now the question is Nick Foles going to another team, or is he going to be an Eagle next year? That's going to be, or is Wentz going to be traded? Because in the last 2 years, Wentz has not been with the Eagles from Week 15 on into the postseason. It's been Nick Foles. And it's got to make the organization question, is Wentz the quarterback for the future? Is he going to be will he be able to play an entire season, or is it going to be more of the same? And maybe we need to look towards Foles as our starting QB. So that's going to be a big question for the Eagles. But Golden Tate was a great acquisition. Hopefully they keep him on for some time. So there are some questions that they're going to have to answer in the offseason. Now, the Saints played the LA Rams in the rematch of Week 9. It was the 425 game in which the Saints had a 21-point lead. Aqib Talib wasn't in this game. He was injured, unfortunately, and Marcus Peters had to cover Michael Thomas, but he gave up 211 yards on 12 receptions to the guy. And a big bunch of touchdowns, including the game-winning, the big game-sealing 72-yard touchdown catch when Thomas was able to run over him. And the Saints beat the Rams 45-35, which gave the Saints the number 1 overall seed over the Rams. So that's why we're playing this game in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Now, the keys to this game are, if you are the Saints, your defense is going to have to stop C.J. Anderson, Todd Gurley. Easier said than done now that Sheldon Rankins is not playing. That could be a possibility right there for them to take advantage of this contest. 2, the other thing that the Saints must do, of course, they got to do the same thing. Have Kamara and Ingram kill the clock. And 3, Drew Brees has got to get the ball off better than we've seen the past few weeks. And the offensive line has got to protect him from Aaron Donald, who had 20.5 sacks. That is going to be a big challenge for the O-line right there. So a lot of things that Saints have to do. And don't turn the ball over like you did last week. The Rams, for you to win, here we go. Don't play from behind. Yes, they did come back from 21 points down to tie the game in the second half. But they ended up losing, giving up 10 more unanswered points. It was an up and down affair. It was a very good offensive game. Brandon Cooks, this time, wants to get revenge against the Saints for trading him to New England. He wants to get over on them. He wants to show them that you should have kept me. This is his game, his moment to shine. Even though they are playing yet another loud environment, very tough environment, especially with the decibel levels turned up to the umpteenth power. Well, maybe not the umpteenth power, but still, it's a tough place. So silent counts is where the Rams are going to really have to excel in this week. They had to do the same last week because even though they were playing at home against LA, there were a lot of Cowboy fans at the game. So they're going to have to do the same thing this week. Like mentioned with CJ and Todd, run the ball, constantly killing the clock, game-killing drives, keeping Drew Brees off the field. And if you're the Rams defense right there, especially this time Talib on Michael Thomas, do not give up an easy play on him. You take away Thomas, you take away the ability for Kamara and Ingram to run the ball or catch out of the backfield, you really stifle Brees. And if you're able to play man and force turnovers, then you really got him. Yeah. That's why I am going with the LA Rams to win this week. I know. First, I was going to go with the Saints. But I think this time around, the Rams are going to fix a lot of the mistakes they had in the last game, too. They're going to be able to go, they're going to limit the Saints' ability to go on long killing drives. And I think they're really going to get right in Drew Brees' face and make it a very tough matchup for him. Well, folks, we've come to the end of our show. I want to thank you so much for watching this show. I enjoy it as always. So for all the hardworking men and women at CTV, for Mr. Kenny Graham, who does does everything great behind the booth, I'm Eric Rosen. I'll see you next week for the Pro Bowl edition of the Blitz Zone here on CTV. Good night.